In this video, we're going to learn how to use Google Meet, which is similar to Google Hangouts if you remember using that in the past. To get there, there's two ways to do it. You can go to the SCSD links folder on your Google Chrome browser, and you'll find Google Meet right there. Or in your address bar, you can just type in meet.google.com. That'll take you to this screen. There'll be a different artwork thing every time. And there's a button here to join or start a meeting. There's also a list of any scheduled meetings that you have. So I do have a meeting coming up at 10:30, so that's why you see that there. So I'm going to click join or start a meeting. You have the option of giving your meeting a nickname, but you can skip that. This is how you get into a meeting if you're going to start a meeting, or if you want to practice. And I'll explain what's going on this scene here. But this is not the only way to get in. Sometimes you get invited to a meeting, and sometimes that's because it was scheduled on Google Calendar. So I'm going to cover that, and then we'll come back into the meeting part here. If you get invited to a Google meeting, you're going to get an email, and that email will have the link right here. It might even have a big green button that says join meeting or join or something. So this link would take me right into a meeting there. If you're on Google Calendar, you can actually schedule meetings like this. Just click to add a new event and call it, give it a name. You can add guests, anybody from our organization here, and then down here where, well, actually let's give it a time first. So we'll say 11 a.m. And then down here where it says add rooms, location, or conferencing, you can choose add conferencing, and it'll create a link to a meeting that everybody in the meeting will receive in an email. So then you can save that, and you can choose to send out invitations. I'm going to not send them because I'm going to delete this in a second here. But there you can see there's the event, my meeting, and so I can click on that, and I can see here is the link to the meeting, and everybody else can get that. And again, it'll send out email notifications when it's time for the meeting to start. So that is super handy. So you might get back to that screen from joining a meeting, being invited to a meeting instead of starting one yourself. In this case, I started one, and that's great for practicing, or if you need to be the one that initiates the meeting. Okay, so on this screen, there's a few things to practice with. There's a mute button for your microphone, and there is a camera mute, so you can turn off the camera. You can join the meeting without the camera recording you if you want to. There is a settings option here, and you can check out your video and microphone and speaker settings in that. When you're ready to jump into the meeting, you're just going to click join now. Whether you started it or whether you got here from an invitation, this is the next step. So click join now, and that'll take you right into the meeting. This pop-up window here gives you a way to add people, but there's other ways to do that, so I'm going to close this for now. And if you're in a meeting with other people, you'll see a list of them over here. In this one, it's just me, so I'm going to go over some of the basic settings. Down on the bottom of the screen, you've got a mute button to turn your microphone on or off. You have a leave call button to hang up and end the video meeting when you're all done, you want to leave. Here you have a turn off camera, and so you can turn the camera off and everybody can still hear you. You can participate without the camera on if you want to. Over here on the right, there's a turn on captions button. If you click that, it's going to listen to your microphone and try to put translated text up on the screen, and it does mostly a pretty good job of that. You can choose to present your screen. So if you choose this, you can choose to present a window or the entire screen. So I'm going to choose entire screen. It's going to make me click on the screen to choose it and click share. And at this point, everybody in the meeting can see everything on my screen. So I can switch over to Google Drive or my mail, and everybody can see it. Or I can minimize and show things on my desktop or open up a program. So that is useful. You'll notice there's a stop sharing button at the bottom of the screen when you do this. And so I'm going to go back to the meeting, and I'm going to choose to stop presenting. Okay, now when your camera's on and it's just on you, you can switch over to like Google Drive and nobody can see this. It is still recording you. You can see this red dot here. So you're still being filmed, and that's all going out to the rest of the group in the meeting. But they won't see what you're doing here. So you can work on stuff, and that's all fine. As long as you're not presenting, the camera view is all anybody sees of you. Okay, there's some options here in the 3-dot menu. You can change the layout if you want to. There's a sidebar option. None of these are going to change because I only have one person in this meeting. If you leave it on auto, then Google takes care of how it looks for you. There's a full screen mode, another button for captions. There's a settings option here. You can change your microphone, speaker, or video options here. If you have started a meeting and you need to add people to that meeting, right up here in the sidebar area, there is an Add People button. And so you just click that, and then you can type in anybody in our district. And you can add as many people as you need to right there. And then just send the invites. They'll get an email, and then if they're expecting that, they should be able to click the link and join the meeting right away. There's, you can schedule meetings on Google Calendar, and that's one way to get everybody there. When the meeting starts, there's also a pop-up window with an Add People button that looks just like this one up here. Or you can start the meeting yourself and then add the people from this button right there. So again, that's on the sidebar, and just click Add People, and then invite whoever you want. Okay, so now in this meeting, I've got multiple people. So if you look up here on the right side, you can see there's a little icon here that says there's 7 people involved. If you click on this, it pops open a side panel, and I've got a list of everybody that's in the meeting right now. And there also is a chat tab. So if you click on chat, you can see that there is a list. We've been in this meeting for a while, so there's a bunch of information here. Anything that I type here will show up for everybody else in the chat. And then you guys in the meeting, why don't you just type something real quick so we can see that pop up. So this is a great way to interact with others in the meeting. Even while someone's presenting, or if you have a question but you don't want to interrupt, you can post it right there, and you can see all those chat items coming up here. Okay, over here on the People tab, this is where you can control what you're looking at. So right now I've clicked on my own icon, and there's a pin icon there. And that means that my face is the one that's showing up and nobody else's. If I unpin it, it's going to jump around to wherever it thinks it wants to go. Google's going to guess what's best for that. And if you click the pin, it stays on whatever you've got presented there. You also can jump around to different screens. So if you want to sample and see who's visible there, that's the way you can do that. To get out of the panel, make sure you just click anywhere on the screen. And then one of the things that we noticed while we were in our meeting was that if you're in the side panel, the chat or the people list, you can't click your mute controls. All the controls that are normally at the bottom of the screen disappear. So to get out of it, just click anywhere on the screen in the middle section, and then it goes away, and then you have your controls back down at the bottom. That covers the basics of how to use the program. Mark Whalen's going to run some workshops and trainings where he'll go into a little bit more detail and give you a chance to practice this, but this video should cover some of the basics if you need to get started right away or you're not able to get to one of the workshops. Hope you find this helpful.